Hi, welcome to Pine Hollow's 10-minute field trips. My name is Anita Sanchez, and we're going to be taking some field trips to some places you might not expect. So come on and explore. Today we're going on a field trip to Washington Park. Washington Park is a beautiful park, and it's been here down in the center of Albany for a very long time. My mother grew up in this neighborhood, and she remembers when she was a little girl playing in this park under some of these trees. She's in her 90s now, but when she was a little girl back in the 1920s, Washington Park was here. It's been here for more than 150 years. And some of the trees in the park are 150 years old. Washington Park has a lot of trees, but it isn't the same as a natural forest where the trees just grow wherever the seeds happen to fall. All of the trees in Washington Park were planted by people, and the people who planted them, some of them a long time ago, they planted more than 100 different species of trees. This is a big oak tree, and oak trees grow very slowly, so an oak this big has been around for a lot of years. It almost looks like an old man with a face and big arms. Washington Park has a lot of young trees too. Here's an oak tree that's just a baby. Oak trees often keep their leaves for a long time, even into the winter. They make a nice rattling sound in the wind. You might not expect to see a lot of wildlife in a city park, but it's just amazing how many animals and birds you can see if you stop and look. This is a pileated woodpecker. He's pecking and looking for bugs that live underneath the bark of this tree. Looks like he's found something to munch on for sure. Did you ever notice that in some trees you'll see big clumps of something? It looks like leaves. And they are leaves. They're nests made by squirrels. Squirrels will take the dried leaves that fall from the trees and stick them into a crotch of a branch and make themselves a nest. It's way up high in the tree. They wave back and forth in the wind. But the leaves are good insulation, makes a nice warm place for a squirrel to spend the night. Just like the trees in a forest, the trees in Washington Park provide habitat for all different kinds of wildlife. There's holes and dens and nooks and crannies in the bark, branches for birds to build nests in, all sorts of places for wildlife. The open lawns are great for us, for people and dogs to run around and play. But when the squirrels go from tree to tree, there's nowhere to hide, so they have to run really quick from tree to tree. Any habitat needs to provide food and water and shelter. And so Washington Park, well, it does have a lot of trees. It doesn't have a lot of shelter on the ground, places for animals to hide when they come down from the treetops. That's why bushes like this one, with nice thick leaves that stay on late in the fall, are really good shelter. Place for birds or beetles or squirrels or chipmunks or mice to hang out in this nice thick clump of leaves. One of the most important parts of a good habitat is water. And Washington Park has a lot of water. There's a big lake, but it's not a natural lake. It was made by people. Long, long ago, they dug a great big hole in the ground. It filled up with water. And now it's not only a beautiful place for people, it's a great place for wildlife. When the trees have their leaves on them, they can all kind of look alike. After the leaves come off, though, you can really see how different they are. Different kinds of trees, of course, have different kinds of leaves. So if you look on the ground, you can see all the different shapes of the different kinds of leaves that have fallen from the trees. And in some of the leaves, you'll see holes where somebody's been chewing. And of course, leaves can be really good food for insects, bugs, beetles, caterpillars, all sorts of insects that like to munch on them. And that's good news for the birds because lots of birds like to eat different types of bugs. This tall, long, skinny tree is called a blue spruce. It's a kind of spruce that almost looks blue. The needles are a beautiful shade of bluish green. A lot of the trees have lost their leaves now, but the buds are really interesting. This is a kind of tree called a magnolia tree, and it's got these very cool fuzzy buds. It always kind of reminds me of Q-tips, the way the tips are very fuzzy. In the spring, some of these buds will turn into big, beautiful flowers and big leaves. Some of the trees here are pretty much the kinds of trees you'd find in a forest in the wilderness, but some of them were designed by people so that they would look different or funny or beautiful. Some trees are designed by horticulturists, who are scientists who work with plants, to be what we call weeping. The branches kind of hang down. Weeping means crying, so they almost look like they're sad. They're very graceful, they blow in the wind. So this is a weeping cedar. There's a song you've probably heard of called Row, Row, Row Your Boat, but sometimes tree lovers sing it, no, 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 your oaks, this is how they grow. Red oak, white oak, bur oak, pin oak, they all grow so slow. Because there's many different kinds of oaks, and they all grow in different ways. Some of them have strong branches that reach out to the side, sideways, and other ones have branches that point down to the sky. So Washington Park is a great place for people. It's a great place to hang out and to play. But it's more than that. It's also a forest made by people. And like any forest, it's a habitat for all different kinds of living things and the home of so many beautiful trees. So thanks for exploring. See you next time.